So for today's session, I think we'll have Nijesh. He'll be doing most of the talking and he'll be presenting the screen. So William, can you make him the presenter?
Sure.
And we did some internal discussions yesterday, and we have jot down some guidelines for the session to be run today. So Nijesh will just be presenting the agenda, and then we'll be walking on those points.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sachin. So I'm presenting my screen, and please let me know once my screen is visible to all of you. So is it visible to all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, so today's topic is all about the integration, how the different systems are going to integrate together like PIM, AX, and Magento. So we will cover all these topics here. Category integration, how the different category will be transferred from PIM to Magento, and then what about the attributes, how we are going to manage all type of attributes. Like yesterday we discussed, there is one requirement where we have to just manage the pack of 20 or pack of 30. So all these things, how we are going to manage different type of products, either that is simple or configurable, and how the keying and coloring instructions will be populated from the PIM to Magento, how the media and PDF files we are going to transfer or the integrate. Most important part, YouTube and Vimeo integration. So Magento provide inbuilt integration with YouTube. With Vimeo, we will have to see for the extension. But yes, how the things we are going to manage, that we will discuss. Shared catalog, it is something because the different customers may have the different product and different pricing. So how we are going to manage this requirement. Inventory, this we have to discover whether we just to manage this. We just have to manage this through XML based integration or the real time. That also we can decide, or we have to decide. Same for price. Customer, how we are going to manage the customer related data or the company related data. Company users, it is, I think, somewhere we will keep only at the Magento end, because I don't think any requirement where we have to integrate this company users information with the AX or the PIM. Order creation, cancellation, and update, different type of order transactions. Order return, shipping instructions, shipping prices, because during the workshop we just get the requirement. There may be different type of shipping instructions, and based on the shipping instruction there may be different shipping prices. And so that information also we have to see how we have to integrate that. And the shipping, once the order is placed and the shipping is generated into the AX, that information how we are going to transfer here. Spending limit and credit limit, user-wise spending limit, which we talk about during our workshops, and codes, requisition, discount coupon, all these things. During the workshop, we also find out that then for the quotation we are using one third-party tool. So we have to decide whether we will continue like that way only, or we will just use the Magento for all type of transactions. PDF generation, like during the workshop we found that to get the price list into the PDF format, there is another integration where we just pass all the information to that third party software, and they generate the good PDF, so that the salesperson can use that PDF for the pricing data. Data migration, we have to discuss is there any data migration like default feature customization and the dependencies. Okay. So
can I just ask for the third-party quoting tool? Which particular SRobo tool are we talking about there? Which one of the SRobo people happen to know?
It's our quote system.
Okay, APAC quote system. All right. So is that integrated into the existing WebSphere web shops?
Yeah, they enter a quote in the quote system, get the quote ID, and the quote ID is input into the web shop order. And when that web shop order comes into AX, then it'll enjoy the pricing in the quote when it comes into AX. So web shop doesn't really have an
Single field
integration.
integration.
Yeah, it's not really integration.
Yeah.
It is just they input the number, and then to get the price, they put the quote ID, and then it gets the price
Right,
in
okay.
AX.
I do know about that one. Yeah.
Andy, it's I think it's for Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and possibly for
Yes,
New
yes.
Zealand. Yeah. Yep. Understand.
Yeah. So these are all the key points which we just noted here. If I missed anything, then we can talk about that as well. But this is the all about the scope which we are going to discuss about the integration. So before starting the integration, I would like to present one diagram which we got from the Wilson during the B2B discussion. So this is the diagram which we got from the Wilson regarding the B2B different landscape integrations. Okay. I just iterate my understanding here, and if there is any change or anything else which we would like to change here, then we can talk about that. So as I understand, right now this is in middle. We can see this is the one shop which is the customer facing, and in background we are having PIM and the AXERP. Okay. And in PIM we are managing the product category, media files, default price list. So this part maybe we are managing in AX as well, so that we have to decide. And in one shop, as this is just only the customer facing, so here we are browsing the product and placing the order cancellation request, all these things we are doing. And AXERP we are using for the order related transactions. So if anywhere I am going wrong, so just please interfere, and then accordingly we can discuss what will be the exact data flow. So as I understand, if I talk about the product, then product is just a combination of certain attributes, certain media files, certain PDF files, and where we are putting all the product related information, like what is the product name, what is the product color, size, and what is the product images, and what are the different product user manuals like in PDF format. So all this information I believe we are managing in PIM. As per the workshop also we see that. Okay. So when we talk about the product, it means all the attribute, like all the product related attribute and all the media and all the PDF files will also get from PIM only. And in XML format only we are going to integrate this, or is there any other way, like we are planning to use the REST services? So it is a question, just I want to understand whether we would like to continue the XML based integration, or is there any planning to change the XML based integration into the REST services?
But I think with all of the integrations, we've got what the as is situation is, and largely that came from one shop in WebSphere requiring XML as the agreed format. But then for the 2B, if there's perhaps a more advantageous format for us to use for Magento, either for performance or file size or future scalability, then perhaps we need to discuss that. But I'm not sure it's something that we just decide outright, yeah, we should do XML without considering that. That would be my approach to each of the integration.
Yeah, the going in approach is to use the existing interfaces unless there is a compelling business need and problem with the current interface. So my assumption is that the PIM interface to one shop works well, and we can just continue. We don't have any added capability that we're looking for in that piece.
But may I ask, because I just heard that from the conversation on the Excel, there's a request for simple and config. Is this something that we need to do, or is actually optional? Because current WebSphere interface does not have this defined
Yes.
attribute.
If I believe that kind of setup is also used in B2C side for Magento, and current B2B one shop we don't even
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Right now, if based on this request, because
there will be a lot of changes on PIM.
well,
Sorry, I didn't understand the question, Hanson. Can you come again?
sorry. Because right now, remember in PIM we actually have a concept called product and item. There's two levels. Whereas on the current existing WebSphere, we only export the information on the item level, which is the SKU. And having said that, so wherever we place an order, whatever they see is wherever they click on it, just purchase. Okay, so this is one single flat level is the item level. For the current Magento B2C, they actually introduced a concept called simple or config product, which actually employ both product and item level. Okay, so namely in that case, this structure that we is actually will have slightly different format as what we actually export for the current WebSphere XML, because at the end we actually have additional what we call defining attribute to for the config product, so that people can choose by color. Let's say the product actually red, blue, green. They choose by that color to pick the informations. And having said that, so we'd like to clarify for this existing, or actually this new B2B Magento, the team, the user, they are going for the exact same structure as the current WebSphere, or they would like to employ the same concept of product item, which is simply say config or simple product. That concept, because again, one is two level, one is one level.
Yes.
So currently our B2C interface, can that work for B2B?
I think so. That's easy for me then.
No, that's what I was thinking. The other way, if you're saying the B2C interface that we already have, which is also drawing data from PIM,
Yeah.
But
can
the
we
question
follow
is,
that, or is it missing something which B2B requires?
But the question is, if that is the case, then how do we, how should I say it? How do we classify the thing, whether it's a
Mike, you don't need to classify as B2B or B2C. Simply just saying we release to which channel, that's all. That's what we have done, right? But most important is the user requirement. What do they require? If they're simply using the current WebSphere concept or structure, just one single level, which is the item, or they would like to go to what we call the existing B2C structure, which is the product item. Because at the end, that will dictate the XML that we're going to use, because those two actually have slightly different, well, actually it's completely different output, and also where
since we are going to run one platform, wherever possible, I'd like to have one interface only, so that we have no duplicate maintenance of interfaces. So if the current B2C interface from PIM to Magento satisfies the requirement of B2B, then we should just go with that. And if it is already at a more flexible level to add a multi-level capability for the future, because we haven't heard that from the B2B customers today.
Okay.
Maybe if we suggest to them next week when we talk to them in the discovery workshops, they might start thinking about it and come back with some scenarios, or maybe later.
Understand.
We can put the proactively we can use the Magento B2C interface. Yeah.
No, because reason I brought it up, I just heard that in the summary they said there's a a conversation about simple or config product based on just the Excel that Nagaro team shared. Just briefly mention about simple and config. That is already saying. So that's the reason I approached this question. This
and Anthony and Sridhar, I think we have to be careful about the way we talk about configurable in this context as well, right? Because I think the business to consumer B2C implementation, it's more about variants that are predefined like color, and the combination of the product and the variants, are safe in large size black, then maps back to an item number that we price and send through for a sales order. So I'd sort of kind of call that either simple configuration or variant management, whereas other parts of our business, hair configuration, Anton, and they think about the door configuration are truly
I understand, Andy.
Configurable products. So
understand.
Need to think about that part.
No, I understand. But the thing is, we should not confuse the terminology as well, because at the end, that's what the term I heard from Nagaro's team just right now. They use the same term which actually we use for B2C, which is simple and config. So having said that, it's a user requirement to actually say we need this simple or config. This is it a requirement from the B2B user based on your workshop last couple of days, or something that you just telling me people actually thinking, or you actually recommending? I want to make sure that I have no confusion, because if one way we're saying we're going to use the same exact output as what we actually have for WebSphere, then it means that we should not actually go into this idea or discussion about simple and config. Or if there's a requirement already from the user for this concept of two level, which is the simple or config, then we need to get a detailed discussion. What are we talking about for the attribute mapping? Okay, so I'd like to hear back from the Nagaro team. Reason why, when we start the conversation, you brought up this term about simple and config. Is this from the user, or just something that you want us to discuss based on this B2C setup? Because at the end, I'm kind of right now in a technical perspective. I'm not giving you the requirement on what they want. I would like to hear why we actually bring up this simple or config in this topic. Is it a business requirement?
So if I talk about from the B2B perspective, so based on the workshop which we had in last 2 days, there is nothing like the configurable product. Only there will be simple product. So if one product is having in 2 variant, then there will be 2 products will be displayed into the product listing page. Okay. There will not be one product where the user will choose. Okay, this is the color which they want to choose. Okay. Understand. So I understand from the B2B point of view, there is nothing like the configurable product. There will be only simple product. But yes, this is the thing which we can decide. If we talk about from the integration point of view, so in the integration point of view, right now in the B2C context as well, we are handling the simple product as well, and we are handling the configurable product as well. So I don't see any difference from the Magento side, but yes, I see the difference from the PIM side, where maybe for the B2B, you guys will have to create a separate catalog, separate product, where there will be no such information like the configurable product. All the products will always be in simple product form. So in PIM side, I just see that difference, but from the rest of the things from the integration point of view, it seems fine.
So bottom line is there's no requirement from the last couple of days of workshop, people asking for config. I just want to make it clear.
Yeah, there is no requirement.
Okay.
But we can anticipate that, if we have the 2-level, structure, we have more capability in the future to play with things like, okay, they display one product, which is, let's say, gray in color, and then it is available in 12 different colors, and we have an opportunity to, show the, the swatches or, the different color, options available in a 2-level, grid format. If that kind of capability is aided by having the product item concept, then it would be useful in the future, honestly.
Yeah, I think so.
Because while I mentioned that, there's another thing that we need to determine that based on the upcoming workshop, on-site workshop that you have. Because at the end, for the product level, right now the product level attribute is actually custom, actually more specified for the need of the B2C. So during the workshop, we need to make sure that what we need to provide for the B2B customer on this product level attribute. Because at the end, based on the current B2C setup of Magento, most of the attribute we actually export is on the product level, okay? So all the item level attribute, if based on this config or actually this two-level structure, very little of them will be used.
Okay? It is a kind of business readiness questions, because right now, all data coming out from PIM for the B2C is from the product, is from the PIM item level. So all the attributes coming out at that level. But if we are selecting the product item two-level structure, the product features coming out will be from the product level, which we are not too sure that the business will have sufficient time to massage the data, from the item level back to the product.
See, in any case today, PIM is maintained from a B2B perspective only, and very little from a B2C perspective.
No, for this way, I'll say
the complaint that we received is that the B2C, we need to enrich the data even further to make it more suitable for B2C.
No, we did it already. But that's why I can only say is on the PIM side. The item level current setup is more or less is towards the B2B. And for the product level, all the attributes more towards the B2C. Because on the product level, we actually also added what we call the SEO product name, search, description. Those will not be used for B2B. So having said that, we need to get a feedback saying, in that case, if we actually say all the information is actually for this upcoming Magento B2B is also using product level, then we need to determine what attribute is missing to feed the B2B need as well. Okay?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yes. So
the last bit to consider is around the pricing. Once we, if we consider changing the structure, then how do we price the product and the variant, or the two levels? And that's quite a complex arena already in the business-to-business web shop. How to get the pricing over there, and it could become even worse if we sort of go down the new path. But there are some benefits to consider. So I suppose it's, again, business requirements, right? If to have that flexibility in the future.
Andy, if we move to pricing, that's something that we'd like to discuss with Nagaro's team as well. Because as you know, if we are actually using WebSphere kind of process for pricing, and as you heard from all the user, especially Australia and New Zealand, it takes a long time, okay, to generate, not because of WebSphere size, but AX side. But right now, what Mike and I was discussing, actually with William as well, earlier before the call. Remember, just step back a little bit. Remember, on the Nagaro team, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? For Magento B2C, the pricing itself is hosted in Magento, not actually from AX. And AX trusting the price that whatever we have from Magento to accept the order into AX.
So currently also we are getting the price from the AX. So we just get the Excel, and the Excel is uploaded into the Magento backend, and then we are updating the price.
Yeah, but bottom line is, we will trust. But what I'm saying is, whatever we have on Magento, the AX, when we place an order, will trust it. Okay?
Yeah, but it's simple and considerably simple in B2C because there's only one price for all customers. So it's a order of magnitude much simpler in B2C, the pricing problem.
But what I'm trying to look at this idea is, if based on this logic, because previously what we actually have at this moment is step one, we do all calculation and export the price and discount price for each of the customer into Magento, into WebSphere. Right now, we look at, I just shared a link that Mike actually found when we actually discussed last night. Is Magento actually have some capability of doing the group pricing internally in Magento. So our idea was actually, not sure if it's correct, okay? But right now, what if we actually have the AX publish the priced, list priced, somehow, I'm not sure from PIM or directly to Magento, okay? And also all the customer discount code from AX into Magento, and let Magento to run the actual pricing per this feature that we just list on that, or we just found on the website on Magento. And what happened is, after all this calculation and discount code set up, AX, when we place an order back to AX, just like the launch, same thing happened in the B2C website. AX trust the price from Magento. So the two things that we fundamentally need to change from the previous B2B to B2C.
So Anson, just to comment on it though, our ability to create very complex pricing structures is quite high within AX, and the companies have used a lot of that capability. And that's really where the complexity comes from in terms of getting AX pricing out, is because the pricing is so complex. Now, in general, moving that complexity out to a second system, if Magento has the capability, might sound great, but I think that we'll, at the high level, flip the problem and say Magento has the price master, but when the customer orders outside of that channel through another ordering channel towards AX directly, how do we get the current customer price back to AX? I'm not sure we'll be any further ahead, even if Magento has all the capabilities to match what's used today in AX.
Understand your point. Basically, whatever we're working on, the proposal is only for the Magento side to resolve the issue. What you're saying is, let's say people are actually using other mean, namely somehow ASCA or other, because Australia, they have multiple different tools. How we address that?
So Anson, the thinking right now is and after evaluating multiple options, pros and cons, the idea is to not have multiple price engines. Today we have one price engine, which is AX. If we don't want AX to be the price engine, we need to have something else being the price engine, but that has to be the sole price engine. We evaluated, the difficulties that we will face if we have two price engines, some channels going through A and some channels going through B, but ultimately AX will, reject any price computed which is not in line with the discount structure set up in AX. So we will have another problem to solve, which is how to keep all these multiple price calculations in sync, which is a challenge.
Understood.
What we are now looking at, which is something which other divisions are also kind of pursuing, and that is a real-time web service, which we are using in a small way in the quote system, where there is a web service in AX which is called by quote system whenever they want to get a price from AX in real time. So that's the most promising solution to our problem, that when user selects the products and then clicks a button that fetch me the price, it'll send the request to AX which will provide the prices back in real time. And we have at least seen that the time it takes to fetch a few products price for a customer AX is able to return that in a fairly short amount of time, which is acceptable. So that is what we are looking at as a solution to extracting all possible combinations of customer prices. 28,000 products and 6,000 customers. The problem which Australia has, which runs for 14 days.
Yeah, because Sridhar, if you recall, this is one of the options that we try to explore a year ago. Remember that 5 options that we have. At the end, of course, the one of the concerns they have is the real-time pricing. What if the page itself have more than viewed? I mean, because right now, if we actually lower a list of 20 items, or actually when we open up, it's actually 20 items, how long does it take? So at the end, that's the concern that people have at that time. And I think we did the demo with Need2, Australian team at that time, with the help from Stockholm. It was a little bit, I won't say much, but was not too well received at that time, based on my memory. But of course, right now, maybe some enhancement, okay? But the reason why we did not pursue at that time real-time pricing is there's a demo, but it seems like Need2's team, Australia team, does not actually have very positive feedback. That's all.
And why is that?
It's slow from their point of view at that time.
What was slow? AX was slow, is it?
No, when they're actually trying to crash the price.
Okay. Maybe more of an implementation issue rather than the actual solution. Yeah, we need to see, but because of course it will be not accessible if the user has to wait for several minutes to get the price. The analogy I would draw is when you book a ticket on the airlines and you provide your dates of travel, and then you say search flights or get the price. How much time it takes to get the price? It takes sometime between 6 to 10 seconds, right, to get the price. That's the kind of wait time which is typically one would expect a user will be prepared to wait to get the price for the products. Let's say they order a dozen products, and what I would imagine, or as an acceptable solution, is that I place an order for a dozen products, and it takes the system about 6 to 10 seconds to fetch the price.
Yeah, of course. But that.
If we can't achieve that, and it becomes, let's say, it has to wait for 1 minute or 2 minutes, then yeah, it will be a poor user experience, and we cannot use that approach. We need to test it.
I think previously maybe the issue is just a matter of technology advanced, so maybe actually this round. But
technology has improved.
Yeah. Okay. But I just can share what's been done before. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Yes, so that is also doable. We can just create a service and can get the price at the time of checkout or the time of in PTP page, and I don't think that will take much time to reflect the price, as these are the B2B customers, not a B2C customer. So I think 1 or 2 seconds means B2B customers can wait, in my opinion. So yes, we can just get the real-time pricing, and accordingly we can update, display the price here. Yeah. And yes, I completely agree. For the pricing engine, there should be only one. We should not distribute the responsibility of price from system to system. So if it is handled in AX, so we just get all the price from the AX only, and then display into the Magento site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so if I means the integration would be run for the products in same way, more like the way we are running in B2C. Through the XML, the XML files will be generated, and based on the XML files we will be creating the products in Magento side. And for the media files, are we going to do some means all the media files will be provided in one go? Then after we will integrate that, or the product to product we will get the media files. That also we have to decide, because here I can see in case of B2B, the product quantity is more than the B2C product quantity. So if each time we are just getting the whole bunch of images, then maybe sometimes it may take time taking.
That's a good point. Yeah. The problem in B2B, yeah, with B2C is the volume is much higher of the
Yeah.
media and yeah, files. Yeah. So we need to have some kind of a one-time load, and then the
Yeah.
delta, which is every week or something like that.
Correct. So we just a part of setup, we can just transfer all the images at once. We got all the images and uploaded into the Magento, and but then after we will get only that images which are just updated or against that product which the media is modified. Only that images we'll get, and then accordingly, because in that case we will have less images and it will not take that much time.
Yeah.
And same goes for the PDF files as well. So I think PDF files means like PDF files, when I am saying, it means the user manuals, which a user can just see by clicking on the link on the product detail page and can get all the details related to the product. So that PDF files would be treated in same way, I think, as the media files would be treated. Am I right? So for the PDF files, we will
So
again.
the PDF files, media files, they're all tagged to the product,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Product ID.
Correct. So at the part of setup, we will transfer all the media files and PDF files in one go, and later on, whatever the manuals are updated or the changed accordingly, we will just update that PDF files and media files.
Mike, do you know if that's how they come out of PIM today for the images and the media files, as a incremental, or is it a
No.
full data load?
As per what we have right now, export template, it's all full dump. Whatever has been released to the channel, it's dump out. I'm not too sure how we can flag it according to the change status. I can ask Informatica, but what I'm trying to say here is, if you want to do Delta, then a lot of the templates needs to be adjusted, because
So WebSphere, are we sending all the media files every week?
yes, in
Wow.
fact it is. So
That needs an improvement.
to be honest with you, from the Middle West side, when doing this kind of two systems synchronization, usually people will just do the deltas. But when I joined Asably, it's the first time I saw like whatever being exported out always will be the full dump. And when we have more volumes building up, this solution will not be able to sustain in the long run.
Yeah, because loading times will just keep growing,
Generating the file will be one problem. Loading the file will be another problem.
Yeah. So we definitely need to address that. It needs to be a one-time plus delta design.
Yeah.
And I mean, we need to, I guess, flag that as a change and then check how we
Yes.
can implement it on the PIM side and then on the Magento side. We may have had a limitation in some of these existing integrations, either on the WebSphere side or the prior web shop. So, yeah. And I've just shared on email a few extra slides around integration. And for example, that it shows some extra info that Wilson had shared to me before, that the images out of PIM arrive onto our network and we run an unzipping script. So PIM exports them in a zip file. And then following that, we have an FTP script to then move the unzipped images over to WebSphere. And I remember talking that through with Wilson. Part of the reason was that WebSphere didn't have the ability to unzip it on the WebSphere end. So there's those kinds of things we, I guess, need to consider as well about those large types of files where the zipping can be done at the destination rather than at the source.
Yeah, and in that case, I think if we will have to decide some nomenclature for the images as well. So, so that we can easily find out, okay, these are the updated images against this product. And if we are just keeping the name anything, then it is very difficult. In that case, we have to iterate each product each time. So if the nomenclature is decided like if there is a product ABC and there are 4 images, then the product image name should be ABC underscore 1, ABC underscore 2 with the region code, so that we can easily identify, okay, these are the images which just belong to this particular product. So instead of just writing the server side script, we can just transfer the files easily from one location to another. That will be much faster, I think.
But we do have naming standards for the files, right, Hanson, in PIM for the images?
Yeah.
So it's not a random name, right? It is a product item, then main image 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like that, right?
Yes, but the thing is, we actually there's an identifier number that we use for correlating the image with the export files. Okay. For those examples, I think it's more or less as we just open up the integration folder, give a dump as a sample reference, maybe easier that way.
Can you, maybe Mike, you can show a folder containing the PIM files?
I have to present. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take, for example, Malaysia as an example. So you want to take a look at with the WebSphere one or the Magento one?
Let's say WebSphere to start with, because should be the same, I think, what PIM is outputting.
And, let me see. Media file.
What is PIM transit?
Files exported out from PIM. Where is the file already? This is AX. Malaysia one is not good enough.
Let me check Australia.
These are all price lists. Where's the picture?
Oh yeah, there it is. So it's a zip file.
Yeah, and it's huge even now.
So each zip file is how big?
400 megs.
Okay, 400 meg is a zip file. Okay. No, it is
And,
not a lot. It's just understandable. It's reasonable size.
and I think some of the files, for example, you see has certain particular format like YAENC1. We actually upload using one method, which is by the file name pattern. There's another way which is possible, which is through specifying the file name to the item or the product code. That one will not follow this kind of format. It will follow the random name format. Like for example, like this. I have an example here. So if we upload using this way, then you can basically just specify whatever file. The way to do it is
Because you have a metadata to describe which product it belongs to.
yes. Using this way, then you don't need to follow the file name pattern. But if you follow the file name pattern, it will automatically be able to know which product it belongs to and what media type it is. Then it will execute the workflow and assign to the right product or item. So that's.
So we should just follow whatever is the current practice, right? Because you don't want to re-engineer everything in this project. How PIM is being managed and maintained, I would imagine we just let it be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, just double check again. That's the thing. Import, yes, that's the upload method is this, but if I remember correctly, not all of the export we're using a file name as this. Some of them we're using the image ID. So
You mean? Sorry?
Yeah.
Answer?
Yeah, because why I mentioned that is some of them in particular I remember I of course not I would actually check every single one of them, but some of them we're not using the file name as this. We're using the export ID. I mean the image ID. I mean AOS, that's the big one I remember. So right now for WebSphere and Magento, I can't remember. Are we using file name? I don't recall. So before making a this is
so this is the metadata, right, which describes
for uploading.
For uploading, yeah.
For exporting, just maybe just double check again. Sorry, can you open it again, Mike? And can we actually double check this against the WebSphere Magento output?
Magento output?
Yeah, some of them are different. Remember AOS when we zip it, and the image is actually using media ID number.
Anson, this image zip file is actually for WebSphere. So
we will keeping this. That's what we're saying. But if we actually going for Magento, I just want to double check for Magento B2C. Is that the same?
Okay, I'll just browse to the.
Thank you.
Australia, we don't have Magento, so I'll have to check something. Some company which has.
Yeah, sorry about that.
For the yeah. So for the B2C answer, I can say in product XML file, we are getting the image name and we are getting the media zip file. Then we are just iterating when we are creating the product, at that time we check whether this media file is available or not. Then accordingly we map the image with the product. So this is how it is working in B2C.
Yes.
So basically, it's using still the file name. That's all.
Yeah. So we are so whatever the image name you are providing in the product XML file, we just look for that image name, image file, and map that image with the product.
Hmm. So, yep.
But that's the second way, though, isn't it? It doesn't rely on a naming convention of the file. It's basically metadata provided that associates a given file name with a given item.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, as Mike was saying, there's the two ways, Anson, that it's already done within WebSphere. Two different methods are being used concurrently. So, yeah.
No, I think the one that Mike's showing.
I think the WebSphere method is a metadata method, and the Magento method is naming convention. That's what I understand.
Yep.
So the naming convention is a much more limited method, which we may not be able to fulfill WebSphere requirements because it is it's a vast, piece of, amount of data which may or may not have naming conventions, but we still have to organize all that using the metadata approach. So given the volume, we will not be able to, implement naming conventions or rename the assets which we have today. That will be a huge exercise by itself. So if WebSphere is following a metadata approach, then Magento B2B has to follow the metadata approach.
Okay.
Which is will provide that file which will describe, okay, this particular file is used for this product for this purpose. That structure which Mike just showed, the Excel file.
And same applies for the PDF files as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll stop sharing.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, that was a very important piece of discussion.
Yeah.
Can resume presenting your topic.
Yes. Yeah. So we discussed in media, we discussed PDF files. Now the next part is related to the product is the video. Like my screen is visible to all of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So now second next topic is the product related videos like YouTube and Vimeo integration. So YouTube Magento provide by default, as I said earlier. So in B2C, we are just getting the product related video URL, and then accordingly we are displaying into the product PDP page. And
so
for the
Vimeo, sorry, just to interrupt you. So question to Anson. So Anson, are we using YouTube as our standard for uploading keeping all the product videos?
I understand your question, but I'm not able to answer because in PIM, we have some site actually have URL. That's all.
I think Vimeo was raised up by Campbell. Most likely, I think New Zealand are the one that have more chances of using these two.
So what's the decision criteria like Vimeo versus YouTube? Is there any particular reason that we have to use two and not just make do with one as a standard place for keeping all product videos? I mean, is it by design or by accident that we have two, like Vimeo and YouTube, and one can suffice?
We hear you. We don't. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess we have to ask Campbell when we do the workshop.
Yeah, and even if we have, let's say, some in Vimeo and some in YouTube, can we get everything into, because they're all just videos to be uploaded in one place? So can we bring everything into YouTube and we just have YouTube as our source for all product videos?
Yeah. And if we are using YouTube, then it is very much easy.
Yeah, because then we don't have to worry about the API for Vimeo to be separately sourced.
Yeah.
and maybe it's also more worldwide,
Correct.
accessible,
Accepted. Yeah.
accepted. Yeah.
Yes. So this thing I think I can confirm whether we can just use the YouTube for the video product videos, or we can decide this whether we have to go for the Vimeo or not. Next one is the shared catalog, and when I say shared catalog, it means different customers may have different type of products, or the different products, not type of product, different products. So maybe if there are two customers, so one customer may have a product A, B, and C, and another customer may have the XYZ product. So this information we will get from the PIM, or this information we just have to manage at the Magento end, or how we are managing right now into the web sphere.
So as Campbell explained, they are controlling this through the price.
Yes.
So if a particular customer does not have a price for a product, then that product will not be shown to that customer.
Okay.
So it's like an intersection of the product, which is all the products, and then the prices, which could be a subset of products, and that's what the customer gets to see.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. So if I understand, so if I talk about the one particular region, so for one particular region, the products will be common for all customers. And based on the price, we will just decide, okay, this particular product has to be displayed against that particular customer or not. But the product list is common for all. If they just open the public site, then all the product list will be common, correct?
Yeah, the public site has, let's say, AU product catalog. Public catalog is all the products which are marked as okay to go to the website will be the AU product catalog on the public site. Once you log in as a customer, then it will filter out all those products for which there is no price.
One question to Nijesh. When you say this shared catalog, right, are we saying that this shared catalog will be shared among all the stores? Because I'm not sure whether B2B side do we have the concept of store view.
So store, you are talking about the stores.
Store view, some like the
yes, store view. Yeah, that is the Magento default feature. So store view is available for the B2B as well. So if we just have to display the product in Thai language or any other language, then also we can do that. That is not a big issue.
Yeah, because when we say about the shared catalog, right? For example, right now, Australia, New Zealand, South Asia, and North Asia, right? Each one of them, except South Asia, they have their own public catalog, and the public catalog content is different from each other. That's the reason.
So when you are seeing public catalog content, does it mean if I open a particular product detail page, then I will see some other information instead of price, and if I log in into the site, then I will that same information of that product can be changed. This is what you are saying? Or just only the price will change? Price will change, that I understand. But the product information, like the product, if I log in, then I am able to see only 3 or 4 attributes, or the attributes value, correct? But if I just logged in, then that attribute value is changed. This is what you are talking about?
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the products that, for example, Australia public catalog can see is different from New Zealand.
Yes, that is possible.
I mean, today in WebSphere, there are different shops, right? And actually, from a sales market perspective, the items we sell in the Australia market are quite different from the other markets like New Zealand and South Asia and North Asia. So I think, we've got different websites tailored to the different geographies, Mike. So I think it's kind of
that's why I'm
higher
asking
level than the pricing or the shared catalog, right? It's before you get to that level that we're talking about separating Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, the sharing is at the country level at the highest level. So sharing is not beyond the country level. So the access control list in theme which goes, for Australia. I think that is shared among Australia customers.
Mm. Except Shrita, perhaps South Asia, I think they do have a joint shop where
South Asia
Yeah,
they don't
South-
have.
right.
South
No,
Asia
South
don't
Asia.
have public catalog because they enforce that a customer needs to log in, then only they can see the product catalog.
Yeah. Now I wonder.
And this might be why.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because of historical reasons that, if I remember now, this is a many years ago story, because each website costs something, yeah, and South Asia didn't have so much money, so they said, okay, give us just one website, and then we will filter, select the country within that, But now going into Magento, we don't really need that restriction. We can have each country in Southeast Asia have their own website and their own catalog, and PIM can support it, right? For Southeast Asia, and no different from New Zealand or Australia website. So my question is, for Southeast Asia, do we really need that restriction anymore? That they go to a landing page which is blank, a static blank, landing page, and then they select the country, and then they can log in. But why do you have two different designs going forward? Because historically we might have done it that way to save some cost for WebSphere implementing 6 sites for Southeast Asia, but for us it doesn't matter, right? We can have everybody the same way. Because I don't see the business justification for that in this current situation, when we have the full control of how we deploy these sites.
So I have one question here. When we are saying for the complete South Asia, there will be one common URL or
No, not common URL. I think you misunderstood. For just like you have for New Zealand one website, you have for Singapore one, for Malaysia one, for Indonesia, like that, separate.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Then it is fine. Yeah.
Then you don't have to have that CR also, right? To have that selection of country, and that step is completely avoided. You just go straight to the same public catalog for Singapore or public catalog for Malaysia, and then you log in just like Australia and New Zealand.
Correct. Yeah.
But may I ask, yes, understand the concept, but if we actually also include North Asia.
Korea, you mean? Yeah, Korea, yeah.
Yeah.
Korea is another kind of approach. It's by entity, so you have to think in that way also, because North Asia is entity, South Asia is by country, whereas Australia and New Zealand, they are on their own. So
yeah, so at least to standardize between Pacific, New Zealand, Australia, and ASEAN, can we propose that they all have the same treatment, which is each country on website, and then coming to Korea. Korea is one country, ASAPLOY Korea, and it has got 4 or 5 business units, which has got Samwa, BML, iRevo, Unilock, and Angel. Yeah. So that's the thing. We need to have the conversation with Korea team, which we have not yet had, but whether we want to maintain one website for Korea, or we need a separate website for, because the product catalog is very different, right? Door closers for one, digital door locks for another.
Yep.
Hardware for third, furniture locks for the fourth. So
I think more or less we need to map out the existing customer journey when they first land, and how to log in, what they see from each of these regions, and find what's common, how to actually make it standardized. As you know,
because
right,
I don't see a difference between New Zealand and the Singapore, or New Zealand and the Philippines, for example. They're all like,
yeah, I know, but
same way, but Korea is different in the sense you have 4 completely different product companies under one legal entity called Asobloy Korea.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. In that case, just like if we actually put it this way, New Zealand they buy brand, right? They said, oh, this is our brand. Can we just have the same concept um, for Korea? Let's say by brand, they choose the brand. Basically, by brand it means actually by entity already. But in a way, we need to map our existing the customer journey. Then when we talk to the team in North Asia, basically Korea, if we had to change the access to the new customer journey flow, how do they actually? Is it actually okay or not? That's all. I mean, I agree with you, Sridhar. It's no point to have different process for it, different region. But at least I think it's something that the team need to discuss during the workshop with them. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the reason
And I
I
mean,
bring
the
this
other
up
way
is
that-
because WebSphere might have had restrictions due to cost, which has led to these kind of design decisions. We need to examine whether those restrictions need to apply. Sorry, Andy. Go ahead.
Sridhar, I was just going to say the other way of looking at the structure is related to the AX legal company, and that's in Korea there's 4 of those, one for each of the business units you just talked about, Sridhar. And so in some respects integration is easier if the one AX company sends data to one PIM
One website,
data area to one website.
Yeah.
And then that one website sends sales orders back to the one AX company. And in the case that you've got 4 AX companies, then you've got 4 PIM areas and you've got 4 websites. So I guess
it becomes very streamlined. Yeah, which is how we have.
Yeah,
I agree. Which is streamlined. Then you have today a separate company for each website. So this condition is met pretty much by everybody: New Zealand, Australia, all the ASEAN countries, and each of the Korean and business units, although they are one legal entity, are a separate AX company. And I don't know, PIM also is a separate data area, right, for Angel compared to
4 companies.
and 4 companies, right?
Yeah.
So we could flatten the structure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in Australia and New Zealand, although they're currently a single AX company, both of them have recent acquisitions, and in some cases, like Spin Stores, will be separate AX companies. So that model we're talking about, one AX company for one shop. If Spin Stores is a new AX company in Australia, then they get a new shop at the point we start talking about their project in the future. So. Just as a framework to consider, and may help us.
Yeah.
But that's all sort of above this product catalog discussion, the shared catalogs, and I think there is a little bit of history in Australia and New Zealand where they have what they call restricted products that are available to sale only to a very small group of their customers. And so it would be worth in the workshop in 2 weeks' time checking again with Australia, New Zealand, and perhaps the other companies. Would they see them growing into selling those via the web shop and needing to be able to have, in effect, some items that shouldn't be in the general public catalogue, but if they're on a customer's price list, that specific customer can still buy them. And the classic example of the type of product to maybe help illustrate it is a keying system we buy from Abloy into Australia, and there'll be perhaps 30 Abloy Australia customers that are licensed to purchase that keying system and sell it in the market. All of the other Abloy Australia customers aren't trained up and don't have the security clearance to buy that particular range of Abloy keying systems. And so 30 customers out of the 6,000 buy a select range of items. surface. It's not a product range, I don't believe, that's in the web shops today and website, but it may be something that's in the future. Yeah, I won't be at the workshop in Melbourne, so I can't ask it for you, but if someone could...
Yeah. Make a note of that to ask them about if there is any restricted list available to a band of customers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's continue.
Okay, so if for some countries there may be public catalog available or may not be. Am I right?
Right now, the ideal what we desire is that, and we need to verify this with the users if they're okay with it, especially ASEAN and Korea, that we just follow the same pattern as New Zealand and Australia, that there will be a public catalog if you're not logged in.
Yeah.
And once you log in, you get your what products are available for you to buy, and that is based on the pricing that we provide.
But
then if you that triggered another thought. If we go down the real-time pricing path, then we don't have a customer price list anymore. So
same question I was going to ask. Same question. Yes. So how we are going to manage that? If we are just going to get the price at runtime, then it means always all products will be displayed to all the customers. This is what.
Right. So we need to solve that. So there needs to be some kind of a customer material info record somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. So on this part we will have to talk about maybe we will also think more about this, how we are going to manage that. Or maybe we can do something like that where we, as a part of setup, we just get the first information from all the customers, so then accordingly we set up the account, and later on we but still there is a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, so, there is a fallout of the real-time pricing decision.
Correct,
but then
correct.
we need to find another solution to determine the customer specific product catalog.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Keying and coloring instructions, how we are managing right now in WebSphere. So is it XML based, or we are just uploading the information in XML or through Excel files? So how we are managing that?
According to Campbell, on PIM side, they just specify the tables where to find, but the keying and the coloring is actually uploaded on using some CSV file. As of how or what the content looks like, I think it's better to check with Campbell.
And if I understand,
the slide I shared has some on that, and it's actually marked as a future integration with a change request against it from Wilson. This is about 18 months ago, so we'd have to see if it was ever integrated out of AX or whether it's being done as an ad hoc.
It was uploads, right? Campbell said Excel files are uploaded.
Yes. In same way, we can also do in the Magento as well, because if we talk about the integration, then that XML or the REST services part will have to retain in AX side as well, or the PIM side.
So, Anson, is there any thought on including keying and coloring options available for a product in the PIM system?
Keying may not be, when you say keying, I think it's the keying platform that we're referring to. But coloring, that's a little bit tricky, because at the end, that's getting to configuration management. That's something that even on the one PIM, we're looking at how we handle it. We don't know yet. This keying platform is basically MKS systems. Yeah, answer is no. Sorry, I have no solution on that aspect.
Okay, so we continue the Excel-based upload then.
because at the end, we also try and look at, first of all, on the PIM side, we don't have those features. But second thing is, if we're really going for the keying, we might actually need to change the way we actually set up our product in AX. So that's a talk, okay, with EMEA. We don't know how to do it at this moment.
Okay, so we not re-engineer that piece. We follow the business input, which is the separate upload files that they provide for the keying instructions and the coloring instructions.
Because right now, for EMEA, they actually have a slightly different direction. As put it this way, MKS system is no different than a configurator, as you know. Basically, they do all the parameter configurations anyway. But if we actually going for that purpose, then we need to enable, Andy actually knows quite well, as the dimension group for config, which we are not using Australia and New Zealand at this moment, and we actually just customize this is CR only for Australia and New Zealand. So eventually, I'm not sure if we're really going to go for if we have one PIM, to put it this way, I'm not sure we're really going to only because of Australia and New Zealand need open it up on this aspect. Yeah, sorry, in brief, I don't have a solution yet on that aspect. Sorry.
Okay. No, I just wanted to ask whether we continue as is, which is what we will.
Yeah. Okay, so we will continue with just the Excel-based upload.
Yes.
Okay. And the next one is the inventory. So if we talk about the B2C, we are just getting the XML files, and accordingly we are updating the inventory into the Magento side. And these XML files are generated from the AX side on the random, I think that is the 15-minute interval. We are getting the inventory. Yeah. So same we have to continue for the B2B as well, or how we are planning?
Yeah, you can assume that we'll have a similar approach for B2B.
Okay, just like B2C, the inventory will flow in B2B as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will be a batch process. It will be scheduled to run every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and that will reflect in the website. How you show it is based on the requirement.
Correct. Yeah. Now next topic is the inventory. Customer. So customer, I think the customer is just a two-step process. Once the customer registers himself and they ask and all the information flow to the AX side, then AX side approve that request, and then only they can log in into the system. This is what I understood from the workshop. So I think for this customer side, we will have to make one integration point where the customer can register himself into the Magento side, and one XML file or the REST-based integration, whatever is we decide accordingly, we can go for that, and then that customer will be integrated into the AX side, and once it is approved, then same communication will be done at the Magento side.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're talking about customers being able to request an AX account from Magento without being an AX yet. Okay.
Yeah, so they will expression of interest, and they'll register just with their name and contact, and that will be integrated with AX, but it will be just a customer number, and then the business has to complete the information and do all the account creation process, approval process, and then they can be set up in Magento as a customer who can order online.
So there may be two types of customer. One is the new customer, and second one is the existing customer.
So what I described was a new customer, completely new customer, has no account. That is just we have a page for that customer to register. Yeah.
And for the existing customer, I don't think there is any need for the approval from the AX side.
Yeah, existing customers are all automatically enabled to order online.
So
Because
that,
I think in New Zealand case, they are trying to say that everybody is supposed to, place the order online. But in case of Australia, I'm not sure if, everybody is enabled or only those who have expressed interest are enabled on the WebSphere.
Australia can't enable everyone because of the price performance limitations.
So only they'll enable only those who have expressed interest and they have approved to order online.
Yeah. But I think the other thing you should be aware of is that in Australia, if a potential customer comes to us and wants to buy, a lot of the time they will be asked to buy from an existing customer, and they won't become a customer of ours. They will buy, there'll be a customer of our customer. It'll be B2B2C or B2B2B, for example.
But why do they have a registration page then for new customers today? They do have one. Why do they have that?
Well, I guess is it for an existing AX customer to
No.
to express interest in a?
No, there's two forms. One form is if completely, a new customer who has no account in AX, where it doesn't have, and then the other one is the expression of interest, where they need to input their customer ID.
But I guess certainly in the past, if they got expressions of interest in having an AX account, a lot of the time they would say no from the commercial perspective. So I guess just be aware of that you may, whether it's Australia or another one of our companies, you may have people that want to be able to disable that particular feature for their companies for commercial reasons.
Okay. No, but since they raised it that they need this, we are kind of having it in our list.
Okay, so Australia's asking for it. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they mentioned this in the kickoff meetings. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because the other piece is that the customer definition in Magento or WebSphere is very light. There's not a lot of information we need, whereas the customer definition within AX is a lot more detailed. So, I think, Anton, part of that customer master data management discussion as well. Which system has the more detailed definition? Where do you start creating a customer? So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So then I guess out of AX we still have an interface flow like we do today, where the full AX customer definition is sent back to Magento. Things like credit limits and those sorts of things. Is that the plan, or?
We have to follow or whatever WebSphere. What does WebSphere get from AX for customers?
It only gets the account information, I believe. Sorry.
Yeah, gets a file of all the current customers for the web shop, I think.
So just account ID and account name.
I haven't looked at the detail for so many years, Sri, I can't remember, but it'll be in the current XML files we're going to look, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, since we're not redefining the interfaces, we have to use what we have as the starting point, examine that if it needs any changes based on requirements, and if not, then use what we have.
Okay, got it. So I have one more question. If we just suppose we are just going to start the Magento from tomorrow, and there may be some existing customer into the WebSphere site which is having valid login ID and password. So that customer will be that customer, that customers can log in into the Magento site. That will be a part of data migration, or we are going to send out one email, just reset your password, something like that.
Yeah, ideally, I'd like it to be as transparent as possible to the customer, which is, they continue to use their user ID and password, and they go to the same URL, and they, they just see updated, a fresh new look of a website, just like, we see, websites being updated all the time, but it doesn't affect your relationship with the company.
Correct.
That would be the goal.
Okay, so means we will migrate the data, customer related data, so that they can just experience the website in more newer form, I can say.
Yeah. So to customers, it's a website upgrade. It doesn't, they don't care. It's a different platform. So it's just a refreshed kind of, experience.
And only I think one challenge is regarding the password. So maybe the WebSphere, the way they are encoded the password and the way Magento is handling the password, both may be different. So I have no idea about the WebSphere right now. But if the password is not able to means just transfer as is, then in that case we will have to make one email communication to the customers just to reset their password.
Yeah. So we could, reset everybody's password and ask them to change it at the next login.
Correct.
Yeah, but we could also ask Magento if they have any best practice in this, because they are probably migrating so many websites into their, platform, and I'm sure other customers would have had similar requirements where they want to provide a seamless transition to their customers. How do they handle it?
Yeah, so yes, we will check that from the Magento side as well. But in my opinion, I think this is the password. So because in Magento, if I talk about the Magento only, so if I migrate from Magento 1 to Magento 2, then also we can't migrate the password. Then in that case as well, we just have to circulate the email to all customers just to reset the password. The way you just talked about, same way we did into the migration as well, because it is very sensitive data. So yes, still we will talk to the Magento team as well. If we can get something, the same password we can keep in Magento side as well, then it is too good. Else we will have.
Yeah. So we should ask them, because they would be the experts in this, because they're experiencing this, because they're getting migrations from so many platforms into theirs.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Next one is the company users. So company users, I think it is something which is only related to WebSphere. So there is no need to migrate the company users information with the AX side.
What does it mean, company users?
So company users means if I have one company account, so I can create 2 or 3 users within that company. They can just,
it's actually buyers.
Buyers, yeah. They can just place the order and can perform the transactions on behalf of that company.
But this could be an existing practice, right?
Yeah. In WebSphere side, yes, as Mike said, the buyers in same Magento side, we just saying company users.
Okay. So you can probably put buyers in WebSphere. So, okay. So we have a understanding of what you're talking about. Yeah, I think this is already in place. I think you have multiple users for an account.
So there is no need to integrate this information with the AX.
I don't think we have that info in AX though. The
No, not
buyers
in AX. No, we don't have. We all agree we don't have.
information are maintained on one shop website.
Yeah, AX doesn't know about these users. AX only knows about the account which it creates.
And if I say we are not integrating the users with the AX, then the spending limit will be managed only at the WebSphere side, not with the
Yes,
AX side. Okay,
yes,
and the credit limit will be managed at AX side.
yes.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So user-related info is WebSphere only at the moment. Which users are associated with an account and what can they do? And so then that'll, I guess, be part of the migration, the multiple users of an account and their password details to migrate that over to the Magento platform, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think today in WebSphere, a particular customer accounts administrator has permission to add more users from their company to be a user on the platform and control permissions on WebSphere, that sort of thing. So does Magento have that same sort of capability? Yeah.
Yeah, and same feature will be available at the Magento side as well. So company admin can create a number of users and they can give the different roles and permissions to that users.
Yeah. So I think it just stays as a web shop only data area, and we just have to migrate it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is all about the product and company and the media files and all these things. So now I jump into the order section. So I'm just opening the existing architecture. So order part is completely managed at AX side. So right now, as per the document, if I understand correctly, whenever the order is being placed, that order will be just transferred to the AX through the XML files. In the same way like we are doing into the B2C. And then that sales order will be confirmed into the AX side here. And once we got the confirmation into the Magento side or the like in one shop right now, then order will be displayed as confirmed. So I think this process will be as is. I don't see any change into that. If there is any change, just let me know.
No change. Yeah, I think we are currently sending it to a secure FTP server, and from there, AX batch job will pick it up and process into the system as EDI sales orders with a batch ID which identifies it as a web order.
Yeah. And I assume just like in B2C, for single order, we are creating a single XML file. And in same way, we will go with the B2B as well. It means we are not creating one batch file in which there may be more than one order. If there is one order, means there will be a one XML file. Am I right? And same way we are going with the B2B.
Mike would know that. Mike, it's one order, one file.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, the code is shared, so definitely it's one.
One-to-one.
Yeah.
I think probably the only bit about this architecture that we have come up against the business complaining that it's too slow, the 15 minute sort of timing for batch jobs. So it may be something to validate in the business workshop, whether for the future something like a web service capability may be more suitable for what they're wanting in the long term. I don't know whether we can do it for day one, but or whether we need to do it for day one.
The loading is slow, they say.
Well, it's the nature of the batch jobs that they, in Australia and in New Zealand, there's been discussions about being able to execute more quickly in the situation if a customer wants to order and then come and pick the order up from us. The batch job timing with the AX jobs are too slow for the business to react in time. So, yeah. And with the batch job nature of the way that it processes, there's sort of the scheduled timings for the generation of the file and the FTP of the file and the importing into AX of the file and the confirmation of the file of the AX order and then all the way back again. Yeah,
there are a series of batch steps. Yeah,
so I think in Australia we went through the timing, and if it sort of all went as well as it could, it was between 50 minutes and 80 minutes or something like that to get the information back to the customer on the web shop.
I don't see that changing dramatically unless we completely re-architect our order taking from a batch process to a real time, and that would be to come up with a new interface engineering.
Yeah.
That will be a separate project, I think.
And also, I would like to add here, this 15 minutes is the maximum time. So in most of the cases, the file will be processed just I can say the 5 or 10 minutes only, because this is the interval. If I just place the order into the 28th minute, then within 2 minutes the order will be updated.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, except
maximum.
That we're only seeing there one of the multiple steps. So
this is the first step actually. There are 3 other steps inside. Yeah.
Inside the AX box, there are batch job schedules to then create the EDI sales order, and then another schedule to convert it to a sales order, and then another schedule to confirm it as a sales order confirmation.
So 3 steps actually.
And so when you actually do the chain, it becomes a lot longer.
Because the order first goes into AX and it's called a sales journal, then the sales journal gets confirmed as a sales order, and then the order is confirmed back to the customer. So there are 3 steps.
Yeah.
Each step, maybe, if you consider that batch job is running every 15 minutes, it could take as much as 45 minutes maybe, if it is the unlucky order which, comes in at that time. Or it could be as an average 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And the other thing just to know about some of the AX batch jobs is while it's running, it keeps running. And so a batch job that runs every 10 minutes, if you give it 5 minutes of work to do, it runs in 10 minutes after it started again. But if you give it 15 minutes of work to do, it doesn't run again at the 10-minute mark because it was busy. So it takes until 20 minutes until it kicks off again. Sometimes the business gets so many orders on a batch job that it misses an occurrence. So another little bit of performance complexity in some of the interfaces.
Yeah, so to prevent itself getting killed by multiple occurrences of the job, it kind of ignores if it is busy, so that job never gets triggered, and it waits for the next cycle when it is free to trigger the job.
Yeah, the job's either running or it's waiting for the next occurrence, and when it ends, it picks up the next occurrence time slot from its schedule. So, if it runs in this scenario for 14 or 15 minutes, it didn't get the chance to start at the 10-minute mark for the second occurrence.
But this is our capacity constraint, and that is what AX currently has. So the only way we improve it is by having faster and faster processing. But as I said, that part I think will remain pretty much what it is today. Except whatever improvements we can gain by increasing our capacity, our performance on the hardware side, which we will.
So I just talked about till the order confirmation step. During workshop, we find out there is one more step, that is means after confirmation as well, the price can be modified into the AX side. So do we have to allow that thing or because in my opinion we just have to stop or decide some point, after that the order should not be modified, and also if order is modified then same information should be reflect into the Magento or the one shop as well, other else it will be difficult to sync the both systems.
Yeah, so as New Zealand said, the point until which changes are allowed is when it is finally shipped and invoiced. Until then, you can change the order in AX for price and quantity, and every time you make changes, it will reconfirm, send the confirmations back to the website. And this can happen multiple times, but until it is invoiced.
Okay, so if I am just taking an example. If I just place an order against item ABC with the price of $100, and later on that price is modified into the AX side and it becomes $90. So $90 will be updated only against that order, not against that product. So next time if I will
Only order, yeah. Only that order,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah, got it. And after shipment or invoice, we can't modify that. If
Yeah.
okay. And what about the order cancellation request? Because in B2C right now we are not managing this order cancellation integration. So this will be the complete new integration which we will have to build upon. So for the order cancellation request, as I can see from the diagram, once we will have to send the request for the order cancellation, means the customer will send the request for the order cancellation, then cancellation request will be approved, and then only it can be confirmed. In the
Yes,
same way it will work.
yes. This is applicable for North Asia, I think, only.
Otherwise, for Pacific region, I think they don't have any system process. It is customer calling, and then there's a manual, approval, and then order cancellation is carried out in AX. But nothing can be done on the website to cancel an order.
Only North Asia, they have the cancel button, and the condition is before the order is confirmed, then it allows you to actually cancel. And you can only click the cancel button one time. The moment you cancel and the request has been sent, then it's grayed out.
Okay.
Okay, so means we will keep this integration. The request will be initiated from the Magento side, and then XML file will be generated, and then we will get the confirmation file against that order cancellation. Same will be as is. We will have to keep this integration, correct?
Yeah, right now that's the assumption.
Okay.
I was going to ask in the earlier team meeting, Sridhar and Mike, you'd mentioned that the North Asia doesn't have the commercial launch yet for their web shop. So,
yeah,
I mean, is that likely to actually properly happen on the business side, or could we drop their stuff, close the shop?
No, now they have kind of a renewed interest, and there's a lot of commitment under new management. So Mary is pushing them, and we expect them to be far more receptive and compliant.
Okay.
Yeah. But
the other comment about that is in the Australia and New Zealand shops, the confirmation process, although I just said that the chain takes up to the 50 minutes or 80 minutes, but they do have automation on the confirmation. So it's not happening manually. The customer will have a very, 1 or 2 hour window where they could do a cancel request. So for Australia and New Zealand, it probably doesn't make much sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And this shipping information and invoice information will also flow in the same way, I think. It will get generated into the AX side, and then it will be updated into the Magento or OneShop side through the XML files, the way it is working in the B2C.
Yes.
Yeah. And remember, in B2B, we can have multiples for the shipments and the invoices, quite a few multiple documents. So, the orders could be quite large in terms of lines and also in terms of associated documents. So,
There's chance of partial delivery and partial invoice.
Yeah, multiple shipments.
It's
multiple
not a chance. There's
invoices.
a certainty. There's a certainty that some orders will have a lot of partial deliveries and partial invoices. So,
so against a single order, there may be multiple shipment files and the invoice files. And what about the invoice printout? That would also be available from the customer side. They can print from the Magento the invoice. Or
today, as they showed in WebSphere, it's a simple printout without the logos. It's not our official invoice, which we print in our ERP using a third-party tool called Bottomline.
Yeah.
So making available a faithful representation of the invoice on the website would be an added feature or an upgrade of the capability that we have today. What we have in WebSphere today is a invoice, but not in the same format as we have in our official invoice from AX.
And the AX capability includes the ability to email directly to a customer group of email addresses if the customer has asked us to set it up that way against an AX account. So
yeah. So one thing we could do is maybe
already get a PDF.
Yeah, maybe Andy, we could add one more piece to that, which is when the invoice is generated in AX, it also goes to and sits in our Magento system, so customer can view print from there. The same PDF which is being emailed. Yeah, I think that can be easily achieved. It'll be great convenience for the customer to see it in their website.
Yeah, drop the PDF on there and then they can open it from the link in the web shop. Yeah.
So we can take it up with the AX team to see if they can send that add that destination for the invoice, which is currently being emailed.
Yes, and that will be, I think, that is a good option.
Yeah. So that could be an upgrade in the future, Sri, to go that way. And it's actually getting close to some of the Astra Connect capabilities that the Seamless Flow team globally and Avon and Australia have been interested in. So,
Okay, and during workshop also we got to know that for the shipping point of view, there may be different type of shipping instructions, and based on the shipping instructions, shipping price may change. So how we are managing that right now? How we are getting all the shipping instructions? Are we getting this through Excel file and then we are uploading that in WebSphere, or is there any integration point between AX and the WebSphere?
I think the New Zealand shop is probably the most advanced there. Again, on Wilson's diagram on my slide 3 that I sent, it talks about a future integration for the mode of delivery and the terms of delivery. So, I don't know, Mike, if you know about it or whether we need to check with Campbell.
I think Campbell has said that it is also CSV-based stuff, and I recall when we roll out the New Zealand one-shop V8 store, James also spent a lot of time trying to correct the thing. I think it's something similar to keying and coloring.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to raise out to Campbell and try to understand how it works during the workshop time.
Okay. Okay. So
we probably find in that area though that there's sort of the master list of what are the potential delivery instructions or delivery modes, and then there's also passing that back on the order after the customer's selected it for a particular order and bringing it into AX.
Yep.
Sort of master data versus transactional transfer of the selection. So,
yeah. So this point we will more elaborate during the workshop. how this shipping information we are getting. So maybe we can just go with the Excel upload, and if required, then we can talk about some integration point where we can just get it done with the seamless integration, the way we are doing for other integration point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you mention price in relation to shipping? Yeah. Did I hear that right?
So he mentioned during the workshop there may be different shipping instructions, and based on the shipping instruction the price may vary. So yes, as Mike is saying, he also mentioned that right now this information managed through Excel upload. But how we have to provide this feature into the Magento, or we just have to keep this information as is through the Excel upload, that we can decide here.
Yeah, so I guess in terms of the price though, that'll be order information. So the simplest example for motor delivery is we might send it as standard, or we might ship it by air. And, you know, in Australia, that can be up to 4 or 5 days difference for a customer, depending on their location in Australia, if they choose air. And so that would be a selection on the order. The very simplest would be air versus road, or air versus standard. And then when that came through on the order XML and hit AX, and we saw that it was air freight as the mode of delivery, then the customer service team would add an air freight surcharge appropriate to the weight of the order, and that additional line would be on the sales order confirmation and would increase the price of the order, and also add lines to the order when it went back in a sales order confirmation on your screen. So that bit about the pricing related to mode of delivery is transactional.
So you are saying we can just provide the shipping instruction information on the checkout page, where user can just select the shipping instruction, and then we will just transfer this information through the order XML, and in AX you will get that shipping instruction, and based on that the charges will be applied into the AX only, not in the Magento, correct?
Yeah, that's right, and be in the confirmation back. Yeah. So the talk about the Excel upload of the delivery instruction is about, you know, being able to load in the values that are on that drop-down list at checkout, you know, standard delivery, air freight, you know, courier delivery, that kind of an option. What are the values? Loading those from Excel might be what Campbell was talking about. So.
Yeah. Only thing I think the price should also be displayed at the Magento side, because otherwise maybe I place the order of $100 and after adding the shipping it just turned into the $120. So as a customer it is not transparent with me how much I am going to pay. So I think that complete order amounts should be visible at the Magento side as well, so that the customer is very much aware how much they are going to pay. So
I have a chat about that with the business team in the workshop in 2 weeks. I'm not sure that all the companies will be able to give you a price calculation without knowing what the items and quantities are.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, our freight charge by air freight can be very high if you're ordering safes, for example, that are 30 kilograms each, and it can be very low if you're ordering a padlock, which is, you know, going to go in a small air freight. So it's heavily dependent, the freight charge that we might want to apply on the particular mix of product and quantity. So, yeah, by all means, ask the business people if they can give you the logic. But
yes, understood. So maybe during workshop we will discuss this in more detail, how we can provide the transparent view to the end customer, and at the same time how we can make this information available into the AX side as well. Yeah. So we will talk about this during the workshop as well, where we can see maybe some sort of demos, something to visualize more about this. Okay.
Yeah. It'll be interesting if they'll agree, but it'd be great for us in IT if they can. But
yeah. What about the order refund? And Exchange, are we going to integrate this with Magento, or it will be just managed into the AX side? So order refund, are we going currently? Are we managing order refund with the web shop?
That is part of the return process, right? The refund is part of the return process. So
I've never heard of it being
yeah.
managed in the web shop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a separate process. Yeah.
So that it is not handled into the web sphere.
No.
And in same way we will go with the Magento as well. We will not maintain this information into the Magento side.
No.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going into this. Yeah.
I have a meeting at 5, so I need to drop off
Yes.
now. So maybe you can continue, or we can schedule one more meeting. But I'll have a hard stop at 5. Yeah.
I think we can schedule one more round of discussion regarding
that'll be better. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sridhar, can I schedule this session for tomorrow? Let me just check. Let me just check the calendar.
We have a meeting tomorrow also at 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's with the business. Now the question is, do you have a lot of doubts with the business, or you want to replace that with this meeting?
So Sridhar, we would like to just lay back in that meeting. So whatever we've understood, we're just preparing some our understanding document and would like to lay back.
All right. So the other option for me is, I think in 24th of Jan, I think we are open for half a day until noon time. I don't know about Hong Kong.
Sachin, how many hours we have cut for tomorrow?
I think tomorrow, Mike is also not there, right? Mike, you're off tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I will be off after this meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Hong Kong
and I'm off till Tuesday.
It's for 2 hours. Okay.
24th only working in the morning. I mean, I think for William as well.
Yeah. So 24th, we are there till 12 noon. So if that works, we can slip in an hour maybe on Friday morning, our time.
All right.
Sure. So we'll schedule a meeting for 24th, and everybody is available on 24th, right?
Mike is on leave, but you can schedule the rest of us. Meaning Andy's also not there, but I can join.
Sure. So we'll schedule maybe from 10 to 11 HKT.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And the next week is like an off for the entire week, right?
Next week, officially, when is Hong Kong back to work?
Only next Friday. So it's the 31st, officially.
So Hong Kong has officially holidays until 30th, is it?
Well, officially Hong Kong holiday is not on the Hong Kong holiday until it's public holiday, okay? It's up to 28th. But Hong Kong office, in terms of Hong Kong APAC office, I would say, is there's a mandatory annual leave for 2 days. So 29th and 30th.
Okay.
So only
31st.
Yeah,
31st.
Working day is 31st, but I think most of the people is taking leave. I'm taking leave too. There's no point going back to 1 day.
Yeah.
But I can check. Let me see. Yeah.
So Moultrie, yes, next week is a washout. Yeah. But Do you expect anything next week from us?
So Sridhar, we're just thinking if we have questions, then maybe we'll just send out email and whenever.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Prashant, did you manage to get to access all the QA stores? Because I have got the credential for you yesterday from One Shop support, and you haven't reverted me.
Yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now, and will revert you right away.
Yeah, because if you don't reply me on time, then afterwards I'm not around. Then it's a bit tricky later.
Yeah, I can understand. Just allow me a few moments. I'm doing it now.
Okay, then we schedule a meeting for tomorrow, 1 hour, and
Friday.
Sorry, Friday 1 hour, and just received a message on the chat, and he's also on leave starting tomorrow. So.
But for Friday section, anything particular topic, it would be great to highlight it so that we can prepare.
So
I may not have to have all the correct answer, to be frank. So I may also need to do some advanced homework. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just checking.
And we can share it over email as well. Topics for Friday.
So topics for Friday is the quotation requisition, because we discussed all about the orders. So quotation, requisition, discount and coupons. These are the main topics which are pending, and then we can decide for the quotation and the PDF generation, the third party integration, what we have to do about that. And also the main important part is the data migration.
Yeah, so let's do this way. We'll share across, these leftover agenda over an email, and then you can have a look.
Yeah. And we'll anything if it's still remaining, will obviously when we the week of February 3rd, definitely we'll continue to mop it up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.